I'm Heather from Hey Booktubes, and today is my final thing from my 2023 reading journal, and it is all of the series that I read in 2023. So, I've got things to say. So, in my reading journal, which I will put up a photo for you, in my reading journal, I added a series when I read a book in the series in 2023, and I intended to read more, or I'd already read the series, stuff like that. So there were some books that I was like, I'm not reading more of this. They were part of a series. They didn't go in the series tracker, okay? So if you want me to continue more series videos, I will give you some options at the end of this video, but today is series that I read in 2023 and their status. So we're gonna go in chronological order of what I read in 2023. So the first one was the Innkeeper Chronicles by Ilona Andrews. This is a ongoing series, but I am caught up. So I had already read the first three, so they were rereads for me. I did read all 6 in 2023. And I will continue that as they are released. Then I have the 5-pack series by Cate Wells. These are werewolf, shifter, interconnected standalones. So I read 2 of those in 2023. I'd already read 2, so there were 4 out. I assume that we're getting 5. There are a couple of novellas, which I have not read yet. I love these. They're rejected mates, which I hate that trope, and I love these books. Then I have the Night Brothers series by Dria Andersen. These are Black Love, low angst, low conflict shifter books. The Night Brothers are Panthers, and they also have some bear bodyguards that are part of the series. So there are 2 Night Brothers, and then there are 2 bodyguards that are also part of the series. So in the year of 2023, don't take a shot. What a drinking game. Every time I say 2023, good Lord. Anywho, last year I read 2 of those books. I'd already read one, and then there was another one. The final one was released in December. Wasn't really reading, haven't got to it yet. It's on my TBR. I am excited to pick it up probably in February if I'm back to reading. Then we had a surprise release, Kate Daniels' The Wilmington Years. 2 of those books came out, and I read them last year in 2023. You do have to have read the entire Kate Daniels series. It's 10 books to be able to read these. There's no point in reading them if you haven't read that series. And again, this is ongoing. I'm definitely hoping for a 2024 release in this series specifically, and I will be reading them the day that they come out. Then I read Raybearer, which is the first in a duology. Who is this by? I want to say I know, and then I don't want to say the wrong. Jordan Ifueko. I had every intention of reading the second one, and then Ray, who specifically is the reason I read the first one, was like, you might not like the second one. You might want to just read it as a standalone based on the things that I liked in book 1 and the things I disliked in book 1. So that was a great, fantastic, like incredible young adult fantasy. Truly exceeded my expectations, and I thought it would be a 5-star. It just exceeded my expectations in the characters, how much I cared about them, and the world building, and just everything was done so well. The only reason it wasn't on my favorites of the year list is because it didn't make me want to read more like this. But if this is your thing, young adult fantasy. If young adult fantasy is your thing, this is like the hype is so deserved. It's really, really good. Then I have Mafia Misfits by Monique. This is a Black Mafia series. Pretty insta-lovey, but I like that. So in 2023, I read 3 of the 6 books, so the final 3. I had previously read the first 3. I do plan on continuing this series. Even though I don't think I have a single 5-star in it, it is still like 4 stars and ones that I enjoy. Then I have Holidays with the Wongs by Jackie Lau. I read the final book, the 4th book in this, the Valentine's Day one. It did not go well. It was my least favorite of the series. But I've been reading them for like 2 or 3 years, honestly. I've read other Jackie Lau too. And it's just a really fun premise. So you have these 4 siblings and their family is trying to matchmake them, and they're using romance tropes to do it. It's hilarious and delightful, and the family is so cute and sweet and supportive, and the food is gonna make you hungry, and you know, it's just a fun time. Not the donuts though. The donuts did not make me hungry. Then I have Ruthless Villains by Marianne Blackwood. Is that the right last name? I know there's black in it. Marianne Blackwood. I was right. I should never doubt myself. When am I wrong? This was actually a try a chapter challenge of fantasy romance books that had been on my TBR for forever. And I'm so glad that this got me to pick it up. I read the entire series in 2023. Again, they're all 4 stars. There's not the most immaculate thing you've ever read, but there are parts of every single book that I'm like, oh, I liked that. I liked that. So you have dark mages, and they are very every man for himself. And so they kill each other off a lot, but these 2 have to work together to eliminate a threat that is going to potentially take all of them out. So it's like survival requires working together. So I guess we'll do that. But they are backstabbing. They are knife to the throat. They are, let's have sex and that doesn't mean I don't hate you. It's so good. It's just fun, fast-paced, highly consumable villain romance. And yeah, I love it. Even though I don't think it's all that good, I love it. Then I have the New Heights series by Christina C. Jones. These are interconnected novellas, and I read 2 and 3 in 2023. 2 is by far my favorite. They're just contemporary Black love romance. Then I have Wolf Warriors MC by Casey Mills. I read book 1 and DNF'd book 2 just because it was second chance romance, and I read quite a bit of it, and then I was like, well, I'm done here. I would definitely read more in this series. I don't think there's any more out. If I'm wrong, please tell me, because I would read more. I still need to read another book by them. I have them on my TBR, haven't picked them up, even though I really, really liked these. So this is Black Motorcycle Club and Alpha Over the Top. If you like Motorcycle Club and you like alphas, but you want it in black, this is like exactly the vibe of the genre, but black romance, perfect. So yeah, I really need to read more by this author, and if I heard that she was releasing more in the series, I would definitely pick it up right away. And I have Predators MC, another Black Motorcycle Club. This is by Christina C. Jones. I read the first one in 2022 and the second in 2023. It's only these 2 out so far, and this was like a duology within the series. It didn't really go as she had planned. It was quite dark. And not my favorite font of Christina C. Jones. So I think I would wait to see what she has to say about more in the series, because she will let you know like what vibe it ends up being, and maybe some reviews. So I liked these. I didn't love them. And whether I would continue is questionable. Then I have okay, I skipped one. I was like, what the heck? I also have Wild West MC by Kristen Ashley. I will not be continuing the series. I had read the first one before 2022 and the second one in 2023. Not my favorite. They're like seeking redemption. They're not the best people. I still like them because it's Kristen Ashley, but I wouldn't recommend them. I don't like them that much. I won't be continuing this series, and I'm not particularly interested in continuing any of her Motorcycle Club series, so that tracks. Then I have Necessary Evils by Onley James. This has been taken out of Kindle Unlimited, so I don't think I'm going to continue it for that reason, because I don't care enough to pay the price for these ebooks. I guess if I got it from the library, maybe it's going to be available there, but it's doubtful because it's queer male serial killer insta-lust, ridiculously horny over the top romance, so I doubt you're gonna be able to get it from the library, but maybe you would. Yeah, these are psychopath, sociopath, serial killers finding their person and being obsessed with them, and I love that dynamic. Give me that dynamic in any romance and I'm going to want to pick it up. Then I have the Rook and the Rose trilogy by M.A. Carrick. I read the first book, the second book, the first book again, the second book again, and the third book, which was a 2023 release. My favorite series of the year. So happy that I actually kept it on the TBR, and again, all the credit to Angela at Literature Science Alliance. She single-handedly made me want to read these books. Then I have Fatal Fidelity by Rian Gray. This is a non-binary assassin and the woman who hires them to kill her husband, and it's their romance over a 4-book series, I want to say. I read books 1 and 2, enjoyed them, DNF'd book 3. She was feeling guilty about not telling people she was a murderer. I was like, please cease and desist. But yeah, it was good, not great. If that is an intriguing premise to you, which why wouldn't it be? It's a good version of it, but it's not the best. Because it has that trope where you're really good at murder until you fall in love. And then suddenly you forget everything you've ever known. I have Misted Pines by Kristen Ashley. This is her romantic thriller series. I've read each book when it comes out. That second book, not great. Not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination. Book 3 is coming out in June, and I'll read it as soon as it comes out. So I have not DNF'd that one yet, but she's on thin ice. And I have Kindle by Claire Kent. I read the first 3 in the series. Really, it should be first 4 because there's absolutely no reason Last Light shouldn't be part of that series except for the fact that it's significantly longer than the books in the series. But it's the same world, dystopian romance, Claire Kent, the best of the best. I love it so much. Then I have Valley of the Old Gods. I don't know who this is by. This was a Easter Bunny romance, but like think the pagan god rather than mascot of consumerism, commercialism for holidays. The first one was a horny, good, steamy novella, and then she tried to get into world building, and I was like, absolutely not. I do not need 500 pages of this. I just want more bonkers pagan god sex. So I read Railed by the Easter Bunny and I DNF'd whatever the next one is, and I won't. Oh, Banging the Easter Bunny. There was not as much banging as one might have hoped for. Yeah, I won't be continuing that. Oh, I didn't. Whoops, I forgot to actually look at the author. Who is it by? Dahlia Davies. There you go. Then I read Stariel. I don't know who this is by. I don't have authors in my reading journal. Let me live. AJ Lancaster. So I read the first 4 books in the series. It's like Downtown Abbey, quiet, cozy, fantasy, historical romance. The thing about this is it's supposed to be a bit of a slow burn. So in the second book, you get like these really steamy, heavy makeout scenes and stuff like that. And then her readers were kind of like, no, you're supposed to be a clean romance author. And that wasn't what she'd intended. It's just there wasn't any sex in the first book. So then she pulled back and the rest is like closed door. I was like, I think there's one sex scene in like the entire series. And it wasn't super detailed, so that was kind of disappointing. It was interesting. It was slow. I read all 4 books back to back. There is a 5th book that is male, that is their brothers, and I would be interested, except I took it off the TBR. So maybe at some point I will get a random urge to read that, but as of now, I read the quartet and I'm good. Then I read the first 4 books. I DNF'd book 5 2 seconds in, of Blood Grace by Vela Roth. This is too good for their own good. Vampires and political machinations and like the king's bastard daughter, and she's, you know, the smartest person in the room. It's really good. It's really slow. I read 4 books back to back. They were all 5 stars. I can't do anymore. I'm done. Then I have Sisters in Serendipity by Lady Marie. The second book came out in 2023 and I read it. I did not really like that one all that much because it wasn't really a romance. You just had an established couple dealing with the father of her child drama. And that wasn't something I was super interested in reading, but it was still well done. I will read more in the series. Then I read The Queen's Red Guard by Isabel Almo. Loved it. Well, actually, no, I read Queen and Conqueror, which is the first book. The second book is out. I plan on reading it, and the third book should come out sometime this year, and I plan on reading it. Dark fantasy romance. Then I read Love, Comment, and Subscribe, which is the first in the Ponto Beach Reunion series by Kathy Yardley. I did DNF book 2 and don't really plan on picking up book 3 because they're tropes that I'm not interested in. It's not that she didn't write them well. It's just, it's not my favorite trope. And then she was writing that trope, and of course that like wasn't my favorite thing. So I did love book 1 though. Then I have Cock and Oyster by Elizabeth Grace. This is a Black historical romance cozy fantasy. I did not love this first book. I did intend on continuing for Black Aween, but by that time it was gone. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. Like, it wasn't on Kindle Unlimited. I didn't even see it on Amazon at all. Then I have Alliance. What, I put this here because I was like, I don't even know what this is. Apparently I intended on continuing since I put it in here. It's Mafia Romance King by S.J. Tilley. I gave it 3 stars. There's no way I'm planning on continuing. I don't know. Not reading that, any more of that. Then I have The Brothers Sinister by Courtney Milan. I think I read 4 of these in 2023. They're historical romance. They're great. I cried a lot and had to take a break. Then I have Kingstown by Sean. I read His Majesty, loved it. I DNF'd the second book because of life situations, not because of the book at all. And then I am reading book 3 this month, actually, for a podcast that is hosted by Tama and Sharonda. And I did continue with this author also, so really like her. She and Lady Marie, aka Whitney, are like best friend writing buddies, and I love watching them hype each other up. And it was because of Whitney that I read Sean, and worth it. Well worth it. Then I have Blackwood Billions by Christina C. Jones. There is 1 book out, Hostile Takeover. I read it. I loved it. I want more Black billionaires. Yes, I will read the rest of the series when she releases it. The Centillion Triplets by Cate Canterbury. Did not like book 1. I'm kind of interested in reading book 3 specifically, but don't know if I will. It's not currently on the TBR. Then I read Boundlands. I read a novella, the Merman novella, I think, or the Mothman. I'm not sure which one I read in 2023. And then also Seductions of a Psychopath. Is that right? Yes. Grim Reaper. I love this series. I love Elsie Winters. I've read her entire backlist, which is everything in the series. It is completed now. I will continue reading anything that she writes. Cozy fantasy romance. Then I have the Scorched Throne series duet, which is The Jessed Heir by Sarah Hashem. I think there's some legitimate critiques of this book. I liked it, and I want to read book 2 if or when it gets announced. It's supposed to be Egyptian inspired fantasy, but it's more modern Egyptian history, so I don't think you'll recognize it as Egyptian fantasy. And it was definitely like colonizer falls in love with this one person, so maybe he'll let her live. We'll see. I want to see what she does with book 2. Okay. Then I have The Silver Fury by Layla Frost, maybe. This is an orc series. It was following the same couple. Yeah, Layla Faye. They weren't good. I read all of them. Yeah, and we're done with that. The Edge by Ilona Andrews. I reread books 1 and 2 and finished the 4-book series. There are currently no plans to continue this series at all. Not my favorite of theirs, but it is recognizably Ilona Andrews and is better than almost anything else you're going to pick up. So then I have Love Struck by Mimi Grace. I read book 1, gave it 4 stars, DNF'd book 2 at the 80% mark. I think I would read her if the trope synopsis combination really intrigued me. But besides that, I don't think she's going to really be the author for me. She does what she is trying to do well, but that's not quite the pacing and cadence of romance that I most enjoy. But yeah, if she hit the right combination of tropes, I would read her and expect a 4-star. Then I have Blood Oath. This was a Why Choose series. Don't freaking know who it's by. Memory, where are you? This is taking forever. Maybe I won't film my other video today. Maybe I'll just film this one. By R.L. Calder. I read books 1, 2, and 3, Bang Bang and Booma, started book 4, DNF'd like 2 seconds in. It's vampires and Van Helsing, Reaper, Hunter people. I liked it. It's not great. I liked it. I don't plan on continuing. Then I have House Witch. Who the frick is this by? Dumhawk? So I read book 1, 5 stars. DNF'd book 2. Picked book 2 back up. Finished it. 4 stars. I have no plans to continue with book 3 except they have a continuation that is the children of these main characters, and I kind of want to read it, and I kind of feel like I have to read book 3 in order to really love it. It's cozy fantasy, but the House Witch, our main character, he doesn't have the most agency, and I can only handle so much of that. It really stresses me out a lot. So really liked it. Don't really plan on continuing, but very well might if the proper mood struck or the right prompt in a readathon or something like that. Then I have Ruthless Enemies by Marianne Blackwood. This is kind of a interconnected series to Ruthless Villains. I read book 1, all 3 books came out. I plan on continuing and finishing it. Then I have River Rain by Kristen Ashley, book 6. I want to say it came out. What the heck is that called? Polling something, right? Fighting the Pole. All right, so that's book 5. So book 5 came out. Read it, loved it. I love this. I love these. I do. This is, I think, my favorite series that she's working on right now. Book 6 is coming out in September. I'll read it on release day. So I will be reading each one of these when we get them. Then I have Ruinous Love. Oh yeah, I put this here because I can't remember what it was, which is Butcher and Blackwood. Nope. Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. This is a trilogy following 3 brothers, and this one is rival serial killers. I really, really liked this, except they were interacting with a cannibal serial killer, and I have never I've never felt so gross. I can't even talk about it. I've never felt so grossed out in my entire life. So I'm hoping the second book doesn't have that. Because I liked everything else about the book. I really liked a lot of things about her writing, but I can't do it. Can't do it. So I plan on picking up the second book, but if she has anything about like you might be grossed out in her content warnings, which she did, she had very extensive content warnings. If there's anything that I'm like, ooh, that's gonna gross me out, I'm just not gonna read it because she did it well. I'm not okay. And I have Ghosts and Reincarnations by Kristen Ashley. I read 4 of these. I DNF'd one, I think is what ended up happening with this. Not her best, not the best, devoured. It's like all like haunted manors and stuff in England and falling in love with the nobility who are cursed. Cursed. Then I have Sugared and Spiced, which I actually read the first one like way back in February, but it wasn't a series at that point. So Sugared and Spiced, I read books 1 and 2 by Lady Marie. Loved the first one, liked the second one, will continue. They're sugar baby romances. Then I have Black Bear Clan by somebody. I want to say Zoe King. This is Orc romance. I currently have no plans to, Zoe Ashwood or Orc King. I have no plans to continue as of right now, but I would if I felt like it. It wasn't bad. It was 4 stars. This is like sweet orc. So he's gonna worship the ground she walks on. Then I have Georgia Arcane by Dria Andersen. Not my favorite series by her. It is a magical family and they have like panthers or something because they were cursed, and then they are marrying like warlocks and wolf shifters and things like that. Liked it, don't love it. I read 2 books of that in 2023. There's only one that I didn't read. I'm not gonna go back and read it. Good, not my favorite. Then Brown Sisters by Talia Hibbert. I wanted to say Eve Brown. It's not by Eve Brown. I read the 3rd and final book specifically for a project and specifically because of Ray at Bookmark Chronicles, and loved it. All of these books I've loved. I had read the previous 2 in like 2021 and 2022, something like that. 2020, 2021. I don't know. They're great. They're just as great as everybody says they are. It's really Talia Hibbert's writing that makes them so fantastic. And then lastly, I had The Jacksonville Rays, which is Pucking Around by Emily Rath. I read the prequel novella, gave it 4 stars. I DNF'd Pucking Around. I have every intention of picking it back up. I read 50%, which is like 350 pages because it's like a 750 page book. But again, that was in December when I wasn't really reading. So I do plan on continuing by at least finishing Packing Around. I don't know if I'll continue the series. I'm not super into hockey romance. If I'm gonna read it, it's probably gonna be like 1 or 2 a year. It's not like a thing that I am super interested in, but it's also not completely a no-go either. So it just depends. I don't know. So those are the books. Those are the book series that I read entries of in 2023. Let me know if you want me to do series I plan on starting, series I want to continue, series that I've DNF, like all those things in a combination video or standalone videos. Let me know if you want me to actually talk about series. I've never really done it before on the channel. So, oh, nope. Lies and Deceit. I forgot about the freaking manga. All right. For manga, I read volume number 4 of Fire in His Fingertips. This is a best friend, friends to lovers, dubious consent, explicit manga. Really loved books 1 and 2. Didn't really love books 3 and 4. Am not planning on continuing. Then I read I'll Never Be Your Crown Princess, volumes 1 and 2. Love this. Again, dubious consent, but in a way that I kind of like for the manga. It's pretty explicit. This is currently like the one I'm most excited for, and I will continue in 2024. Then I have Something's Wrong with Us. I read, this is a dark romantic thriller type thing. It's so intriguing. I read volumes 5 through 12 in 2023. I will absolutely be continuing this. So many of my friends have completed it, and they just say it's good the whole way through. Don't freaking know what's gonna happen in it, I can tell you that, but I'm enjoying the ride. I don't know if they end up together. I hope they do. Then I have The Villainess and the Demon Knight. Liked it, didn't love it. This is like, she's in a video game and she's the villainess, but she's played the video game, so she knows what choices they make. She's not a villainess, and the Demon Knight is not a demon. Liked it, don't plan on continuing. Unless Izzy's like, no, it's so great. the further into it you get. Then Ladies on Top, volumes 1 and 2. Not really my thing. Did want to try it. I'm glad it exists. I don't plan on continuing it. Yakuza Fiance, really not my thing. Even though you would think over the top Mafia would be. I read volumes 1 and 2. I don't plan on continuing. Game Between the Suits, read volumes 1 and 2. Not really my thing. Don't plan on continuing. Didn't like some of the dynamics between them. And Outbride, Beauty and the Beast. This is a wide choose. Questionable. Like Omegaverse, that she needs their fluids in order to not be poisoned by the air. I read volumes 1, 2, and 3. I do plan on continuing this. It's ridiculous, but I'm kind of into it. So there you go. Those are the manga that I read from Izzy. She actually loans me them. She's literally the best. I've said many a time, you just need to like spend years cultivating friendships, and then like you can use those friends for your own benefit. But yeah, she loans them to me. It's so sweet of her. I really appreciate it so much. And of course, I read basically based on her recommendation. Also Shay at Shay Geeks Out. Also Ashley at Realm of Comics. Yeah, they're really my only manga influences at all. But I can't read a ton of manga. I do like dabbling in it, and I really appreciate Izzy basically making that possible for me. So there you have it. That's all of the series that I read entries of in 2023. So yeah, let me know if you want me to continue making series content. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.